Alright guys, this is a Trane XV with the new Trane Link communications platform and XV system, and it's a month old, and as you saw from that little clip, the fan motor's not running. And some high pressure alerts. He tried to run the air conditioning yesterday. The wife's pregnant, so that's a problem when the air conditioner's not working. And well, let's figure out why that motor's not running, which I have the breaker turned off now because I want to just check a couple of things. Make sure everything's plugged in. Everything's plugged in here. So this is our power wire to the motor, and then this is our data communications plug that goes to it. Well, this is just a straight AC version. So I'm gonna turn the breaker back on, wait for it to recommunicate and cycle back on, and see if it'll let me do a fan test on this thing. Usually you can go into the CDA and do the fan test. Let's check real quick and make sure it's not seized. It shouldn't be. Jesus, this thing's only a month old. It's a variable speed motor. Alright, let's turn the power back on. Okay, so I've gone back up and turned the thermostat off so I can run a drive test on this, and then run a fan motor test from the drive. So let's go in here and active alerts, none, alert history. It should be our, these buttons sure don't respond very well. Control menu, drive test, enter. Testing. Yeah, this thing evidently has gotten cheaper. You shouldn't have to hit the buttons 4 or 5 times for it to respond. But anyway, testing. And passed, no fault. So we're going to exit the drive test. And of course it does this reboot every time you exit the drive test. Alright, so I'm going to check the motor real quick before I do the test on it. The motor is not hot. 75, 76. 77 degrees. That compressor is going to be hot though. That's just the outer cover of it. Anyway, so the fan's not overheating. So let's run the fan test on it. Go back over here. The control menu. Outdoor fan test. The motor is good. more than likely going to have a drive problem with this. I'm going to turn the thermostat back into a call for cooling and see what happens. Alright guys, so I've gone back upstairs and turned it on. There's also some other faults in there for liquid line temperature sensor thing, and I mean, if the fan wasn't running, this thing was getting real hot, that might be an issue with that, but I need to check this temperature sensor. And I'm going to put a temperature clamp over here for the liquid line. These new variable speed units now come with you got your suction pressure transducer, and then your suction line temperature sensor, and using that controls superheat, or to monitor superheat. Now this is an AC version, there's no reversing valve, doesn't run in heat mode, but you can get your superheat and your subcooling on this thing. There's now a liquid line sensor and a discharge temperature or liquid line pressure transducer, so you can measure the subcooling and not have to hook gauges up to this thing. So that sensor's reading 70 degrees right now. So before this thing comes in, it's coming on right now. Let me see what my DC voltage is real quick on this. 1.0. And now our fan is running. So what in the hell? Cooling D rate. So I got 1.0. Let's confirm that that's going to be around 70 degrees or so. Okay, compressor dome ambient sensor, coil suction and liquid sensor. I had 1 volt DC, which is, yep, 70 degrees. That's what the temperature of the pipe was. So that's reading correct. Unless it was a loose plug and I tightened it or something, playing around with it. But cooling D rate, you know, I'm just going to hook my probes up to it and then I'll compare what I get with what the display gives me on my superheating and subcooling. Because I don't know. Technology with these units, I don't trust it yet, these new versions of this stuff that's out. So I'm gonna hook up my stuff to it. At least I know if I'm looking at that, I'm getting the right information. Then I'll go into the CDA display and compare, you know, what it's giving me for my superheating and subcooling. About 71 degrees upstairs, and these are both on. And on. Select my refrigerant type, 410A. Get my other one out, see what my subcooling is, and then go into the drive and kind of compare notes. And I'm going to check that line temperature on my liquid line right where that sensor is. See how close all this is when I go into the CDA. Let it run a little bit. Suction pressure is coming up. Subcooling is roughly at 6 right now. Say outdoor, they don't even put the outdoor subcooling on this sticker anymore. Oh, there it is right there, 10 degrees. They made it smaller. They saved a half a cent on some ink. Congratulations, Trane. Subcooling looking a little sketchy. I'll retest my sensor. Again, superheat looks fine. And I'll go into the drive and compare all the stuff that's in the drive to what I'm actually getting out here. Okay, subcooling's starting to come up. Which that blower's got to ramp up upstairs too. You gotta give it about 10-15 minutes on these things to run and to kind of get into, especially if it's variable speed. You've got to let it ramp all the way up to 100% capacity. You can't have it running at 60%. You want to run it, I can put it in test mode, but I typically like to jack the temperature all the way down and let it run as it runs when the thermostat is in a regular call. Yeah, 0.9, 75 degrees. My liquid line temperature is reading 76. If you look right here, 76.2 is what I'm getting right here at that sensor. And if you look on the chart, let's let me get one more reading. We're at 0.92 volts DC. If you look on the chart here, 0.96 is 75, so 0.92 is going to be about 76, 77. So that sensor is ranging correctly. And this is an upstairs unit, so I'm not sure these XVs. You kind of have to weigh. You got your line set, measure it, get the charge weighed in correctly. They're really charge critical. It being an upstairs unit, where this line set goes, if you do a guesstimate on how long it is and do your math, I mean, I don't know what the temperature was when we were here that day, but the subcooling is 6 out of 10, which is a little bit low. That doesn't explain why the fan motor wasn't running. And that could have just been a loose connection. So let's go in here, and it's in cooling D rate more than likely because of that little bit of charge. So let me go down here, monitor menu, system. So we're running at 85, 86%. Is correct. External outdoor temperature minus 99. That shouldn't even, there's not even an external outdoor temperature sensor connected, so I've got to go in and turn that off. Suction temperature sensor, it says 56, I'm reading 54.2. Suction pressure 114, I've got 115. Superheat 18, I'm reading 16. Liquid line sensor 75, reading 76. So the pressure is 251. I've got 249. And we're doing an 8 degree subcooling out of 10. I've got 6.5. So it may need just a hair of refrigerant, but let's go. I want to go into the configuration and look at that external outdoor temperature sensor thingamabooger. Come on, there we go. Back over here, monitor. This thing does not want to respond to the pushing the buttons on it. Oh, that's right. You have to be able to go into the, so I'm gonna have to go to the thermostat. Yeah, you got the app, but for whatever reason, it doesn't want to. Let me try it while it's running and see. Well, I had it in test mode a while ago. I'm searching for equipment. No systems detected. Try again. Outstanding. So that doesn't work. So I'm gonna have to go into the thermostat and double check that configuration, and we're gonna add just a hair of refrigerant to this thing, get that subcooling up to 10 degrees where it needs to be at. Alright guys, so adding just a tad of vapor to it, the subcooling up. There's 9 there, I'm at 8 there. It's kind of low ambient conditions, so it's about 70 upstairs. It's 66 outside, so you will get that cooling derate sometimes when the system's ramped down a little bit because of low indoor and outdoor ambient conditions. So at least that's what the book tells you anyway. But the original issue was hard lockout, discharge pressure, discharge temperature, compressor temperature, and that was because that fan motor wasn't running, and right now it's running just fine. So I don't, unless it was a brand new, I mean it's a brand new unit. I think it's only 8 weeks old, but actually 4 weeks. So maybe it was just me playing with the wires. So I don't know. These things are, I mean, you call tech support now and it's, that's, you know, I'd rather be working on old equipment like I used to than all this fancy over. I ain't even gonna get into it. Hopefully we won't hear back from him. Subcooling's up to 10. So we'll go up there and get a temperature split and call it a day. And all this mess, that's nothing. All you're looking at right there is nothing but problems that could happen. All this stuff, sensors, and you gotta put a heat pump out here and you got more. Just too many options for problems. Shouldn't be this difficult to keep a house 72 degrees when you're running the air conditioner and 68, 70 degrees when you're running the heat.